Hello, fellow stampers. This is Yana Smakula for My Favorite Things. Welcome back for another video tutorial. In this video, we're making a gift card holder Christmas card with the My Favorite Things Holiday Penguins stamp set. Let's dive right in. Just like always, I started working on my card by stamping the images I wanted to use for my project. So we'll do the stamping and the coloring first, and then I'll show you the mechanism how to build the gift card holder for your project. Here I have a Christmas tree and two penguins, and I'm stamping these using Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock using a Mini Misty stamping tool. One of the reasons I picked this particular stamp set for my project today is because of the size of the images. When you're making a gift card holder Christmas card, you need to make sure that one of your images, the main image, is large enough to hide a gift card behind it. You need that image to have a coordinating die, as that is what will make the partial cut for the gift card holder to hide on the card. And the Christmas tree in this particular stamp set is actually large enough to hide a gift card. So that's the reasoning behind why I'm using this particular stamp set and why I'm making the type of card that I'm making today. Now, there are two penguins in the Holiday Penguins stamp set. I first stamped these two, but later I changed my mind and stamped the other two penguins to use for my card. I used my Copic markers and did fast coloring off these images. I went with a flick style coloring to color the Christmas tree, and here you can see me flicking the color. Now this is my darkest green, YG67, and I'm flicking that mostly under the branches where the darkest area on the tree would be. Next, I'm using my medium shade, YG63, and again, flicking that onto the tree, extending the color a little bit further down, mimicking the pine branches. And then finally, using my lightest green, this is YG03 color, and coloring the rest of the image in. Now, this is a very simple coloring method, yet one that gives great results for trees or flowers, things like that. Next, I'm going back to my medium and to my dark colors to intensify the shading and emphasize the flicks on various parts of the tree. And you can see how it really transforms when I add the darkest color again. I love how dark those shadows become. As for the tree ornaments, I decided to color them red. So I'm going for a traditional color combo here, which is red, green, and I'll add some white and light blue. I used R22, R24, R27, and R39 colors. I will later add dimensional clear droplets over each ornament to have it appear dimensional and glass-like on the finished card. I also used E37, E33, and E31 colors to color the trunk of the tree brown. So very simple coloring, nothing special happening here really. Next, to color the penguins, I used just a handful of colors. I went with C10 to color their fur black and just gave the fur a one solid layer of color, no shading at all. Next, I used a W1 marker, which is a warm gray, and added a slight shadow to the white fur on their bellies and their faces. To color the Christmas hats, I used the same reds I used for the ornaments on the tree, so R22, R24, R27, and R39. And I also brought in an orange marker, YR15 and YR04, to color the beak and their feet. Having colored my images, I cut them out using coordinating dies. Now that we have all of the elements for this card ready, it is time to build the pocket for the gift card. And it's very easy to do. All you need for this is a die, and it can be in any shape die, to cut an opening large enough to have a gift card go through. The Christmas tree die is of an appropriate size for my gift card, so my plan is to use this die to make a partial cut in my front card panel. Here, I've placed the die on that light blue cardstock panel and taped the die in place using a piece of washi tape to have it stay where I've placed it. I have my die cutting machine on my desk and I'm going to make a partial cut. I will cut just half of the tree out. So I'm not cutting the entire shape out of this panel. I am instead making just a partial cut. I like to add a piece of thin printer paper over my panel to protect it. Now, if you do a lot of die cutting, and if you're using old cutting plates, you might have some cut marks on them and even some gunk sitting on the plates, and that can transfer onto your paper when you do your die cutting. So to protect the paper from all of that, you can place a piece of thin printer paper, just really thin paper between the paper and the top cutting plate, and that will help protect your nice cardstock panel. Next, I'm adding my top cutting plate, but I'm not covering the entire panel. I'm making sure that the plate covers just the half of the tree, like so. See, where my thumb is holding the plate in place, that's where that top cutting plate ends. So anything under the cutting plate or anything to the left of my thumb will cut out, but anything on the other side to the right of my thumb will stay intact, making that partial cut that we need to house our gift card. So let's send this through our die cutting machine to make the cut, and let's take a look. We have a pretty cool partially cut Christmas tree shape in our background panel, and that's exactly what we needed to house a gift card. Now, before I put my card together, I want to decorate this background panel a little bit. For this, I'm using the older stamp set from My Favorite Things called Serene Snowflakes, and I'm going to white heat emboss it on this panel. I've treated the panel with anti-static powder to make sure my embossing will be nice and neat. Next, I've inked up the images with clear embossing ink and stamped them onto my panel. Again, I'm using my Mini Misty stamping tool as it makes the stamping so much easier and a lot cleaner as well. I've added white embossing powder and going to heat set it with my heat tool to melt the powder in place. Now, I love the look of these crisp white snowflakes on a light blue background. They're very, very pretty. I'm going to repeat this process and heat emboss a few more snowflakes to cover the other part of the panel with heat embossing. Now, I have also heat embossed a sentiment, but I later decided to add a stamped sentiment panel over it as this sentiment was getting lost. While the white snowflakes do look fantastic on this light blue background, the white sentiment is a bit too detailed and it's not visible enough on this background. Here's a look at the background. You can see the snowflakes look really great while the sentiment is a bit lost. I've created an A2 white side folding card base for my card, and I have also trimmed my background panel with a partial cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to foam mount this panel onto the card to create a bit of dimension. Now, the trick here is to properly adhere the partial cut panel to allow the gift card to slide in and out. Notice where I'm adding glue to this panel and which areas I'm keeping free from any adhesive. Make sure you do the same to allow the gift card to be easily inserted into this card. See, the partially cut tree now works a little bit like a partially opened door, and it, in a way, even indicates where the gift card can go in. Let's go ahead and adhere this onto the card base. And now you can add glue onto the entire panel. It doesn't matter where you add glue, just go ahead and adhere this onto the card base. Next, I'm going to foam mount the Christmas tree die cut over the partially created cut on my background. And this die cut will hide that cut line on the background, yet you'll still have the option to add your gift card to the card. I've also foam mounted the sentiment panel and added my cute penguins onto the card next to the tree. I placed one of the penguins over the sentiment panel, blocking a part of the sentiment. The sentiment says a holiday treat, indicating, in a way, a presence of a gift card on this card. I know you're probably wanting to see how that gift card inserts onto the card, and we'll get to that in just a minute. I have also die cut little candy canes. These can be used as tree decorations if you wish to decorate your tree a little bit further. But I decided I wanted my penguins to hold them as if they are walking with the candy canes in hand. Here, I've already adhered these small droplets over the ornaments on the tree to make them appear dimensional. And now I'm adding snow dots onto the background in between the snowflakes using a white pen. And our gift card holder Christmas card is ready. I have a gift card from Pandora, and I'm just going to slide it in behind the tree. And here you can see how that looks. Isn't that fun? And it was so easy to make too. You can make this kind of card design using many coordinating dies from your stash. You just need to make sure that the die you're using is large enough for the gift card to hide behind whatever object the die cuts out. I had a blast making this card, and I hope you picked up a few tips and tricks in my video, and I hope you'll give this idea a go yourself. Thanks for watching, love you guys, and I'll see you next time.